Chapter 11. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It was not until 1 in the morning that Li Chu took Jack back to the dormitory. Li Chu, you are simply a training maniac. I thought you were going to train all night. Jack was sweating and said with a wry smile. Of course not, I have to get up early tomorrow and continue training. Li Chu quickly washed up and calculated his gains in his mind. He had trained for exactly 4 hours, gained 4 training points, there were still 16 hours of training to increase 1 attribute point. Tomorrow morning. Jack's face changed. What time tomorrow morning? Li Chu thought for a while and said, 6 o'clock, 5 hours of sleep is enough. Jack, I take back what I said just now, you are not a training maniac. You are a demon. Li Chu smiled and did not continue the topic. He quickly washed up, and regardless of Jack's eyes that kept following him, he lay down and went to sleep. If I don't fall asleep before Jack, he will be disturbed by his teeth grinding and sleepwalking, which will affect getting up early the next day. If Jack knew what Li Chu was thinking, he would probably not just call him a devil. The next morning, Li Chu woke up on time. Jack, who had woken up from his dream, looked at this young countryman who was so strict with him that he was abnormal, and his heart once again rose with admiration. Although he was physically unwilling, Jack once again washed up with Li Chu, ate a few pieces of bread with Li Chu, and came to the court to start training. Assistant coach Michael has always had the habit of going to bed and getting up early. He habitually got up early and walked to the side of the court, because this is the quietest place every morning. He can enjoy the quiet start of the day, but the court at more than 6 o'clock today is not quiet, because there are 2 players training on the court. Michael saw clearly that the 2 were Li Chu and Jack last night, and he was stunned again. Oh my God, did they not sleep last night? Michael quickly rejected this idea. A player with a little bit of brains would not train all night, otherwise the daytime training would be ruined. It seems that he got up early and continued the training last night. Yes, it's good. For the first time, Michael nodded to Li Chu in recognition. Although Li Chu didn't know about it, no coach would dislike hardworking players. It's already past 10 o'clock. Why haven't other players come to train yet? Li Chu asked curiously. That's because we just finished a season and are currently on vacation. Jack replied faintly. Oh, then why did you come to train with me? Jack didn't answer this sentence, but rubbed the ball at his feet silently. He didn't tell Li Chu that it was because he saw that Li Chu had better skills than himself and worked so hard. People who are better than you have to work harder than you. This is a blow. And Jack turned this blow into motivation. Another day of training until 1 o'clock in the morning, leaving aside the time for eating. Li Chu got a full 16 points this time, just enough to make up 20 training points. Li Chu chose to add this training value to ball control. Controlling the ball can not only increase your dribbling speed, but also increase your ball protection ability. Control +1, added points successfully, current control value 83. Feeling the subtle changes in his body, Li Chu couldn't help but smile. Jack, who was exhausted in the dormitory, saw Li Chu suddenly laugh strangely, cursed, and fell asleep. This devil. Is it because of the training that he felt genuinely happy? Early the next morning, Li Chu came to the court again. Although Jack was reluctant, he followed him, but today can only train for 2 hours, because for Li Chu, today is the day of physical examination and physical test. Li Chu, I really hope you can pass the physical test, but I really don't want it. Li Chu was amused by this. I admire you very much, but if you really join the team and keep training like this every day, I think the coach will soon use you as a benchmark, and my good days will definitely end. Jack's expression was very sincere. The physical examination was very comprehensive. It can be said that every muscle, every organ, and every physiological function of Li Chu was systematically checked. For football players, any hidden injury will affect their future development. Fortunately, when Li Chu played football in China, although the environment was bad, he was good at self-protection. The physical examination was the top priority, and it was the assistant coach Michael who was in charge. Li Chu was originally worried that Michael would stab him in the back or embarrass him. Unexpectedly, after not seeing him for a day, this coach actually put away his arrogant attitude. Although he was not enthusiastic, he was very objective. Of course, this was because Michael saw Li Chu's attitude towards training. Li Chu went all out for every physical test. Michael, who was watching from the side, had a very interesting expression change with each of Li Chu's results, from expressionless, to frowning in disbelief, then dumbfounded, and finally excited. As soon as Li Chu's physical test was over, Michael took the physical test data sheet and ran to Zidane's office. Li Chu looked at Michael's back and knew that it was his physical test data that conquered this coach, but all this was just a stepping stone for himself. Seeing that it was still early, Li Chu simply started training on the spot. Training. 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 Zidane. Look at this. Michael ran into the office with excitement, and Zidane was frowning and looking at the team's data sheets from last season. Last season, Real Madrid B team did not perform well, ranking 4th in the league. Perhaps for other teams, this is a good result, but for Real Madrid, not winning the championship is not good. Even for the B team, the team has many problems. The biggest problem is the current midfield. Except for Jack, the other two midfielders are not very useful. Although Jack's personal ability is outstanding, his ability to connect the team is very poor. In short, the current team lacks a brain and an absolute core of the midfield. I remember you were in charge of Li Chu's physical test. Is it over? Yes, it's over. Look, my God, Zidane, we really picked up a genius this time. We didn't even spend a penny from other teams to dig up this yen country genius. That if Jack saw Michael's expression at this time, he would definitely help Li Chu curse face. Chapter 12. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you sure these data are correct? Zidane was also incredulous after reading the test report. As a striker, Li Chu's ball control, dribbling, physical fitness, and passing are simply perfect, and even in the accuracy of long shots, headers, and shots, it is far beyond the level of average players. Such physical test data can even be said to be a qualified midfielder in La Liga. Of course not, Zidane, you know me, I have always been a rigorous person. Michael was immersed in the joy of the team or excellent players. Maybe he is a somewhat weird coach, but for the team, he is definitely a good coach who is dedicated to the team. Zidane smiled. Is this God helping him? What the team currently lacks is such a big guy. As a result, God immediately sent him one. If the choice to let Li Chu join the team at that time was to see Li Chu's potential and think about training, then after reading this set of physical test data, Zidane even had the idea of training Li Chu to be the core starter of the team in a short time. Zidane, do you think that Li Chu's data is very similar to yours? I found your physical test data from that year. Take a look for yourself. Zidane had not realized this at first, but when comparing the two physical test data, it can be said that they are exactly the same. Zidane, this is really amazing. As a legendary player of Real Madrid, you have found another Zidane for Real Madrid. Zidane heard it and shook his head. I don't want to train him to be the next Zidane. Li Chu has a power, and he will be the first Li Chu. By the way, I asked you to take Li Chu to meet other players last time. How about the welcome ceremony? Michael heard it and his face froze. I'm sorry, I underestimated Li Chu, and I didn't even let other players introduce themselves to him, let alone hold a welcome ceremony. Zidane slammed the table heavily, his eyes cold. Michael, I don't want a next time. In the days that followed, Li Chu still maintained high-intensity training every day, and Jack also followed him, never slacking off. From the initial complaints, Jack is now accustomed to such hard training, especially after gradually discovering that his football skills have been slowly improved, and Li Chu also passed the physical examination and officially signed his first professional contract with Real Madrid B team. The vacation of Madrid B team is exactly 1 month. In this month, except for Li Chu and Jack, all other players went on vacation. In 1 month, Li Chu also accumulated 440 training points and raised his passing and controlling attributes to a higher level. Of course, there will be few long vacations like this in the future. After the official start of the game, there will be games and home and away games, and the confrontation of the game is not comparable to the intensity of training. It will be difficult to concentrate on training after the game. 1 month before the official start of the game, the team's training class officially began. The first training session was taught by head coach Zidane. This was the second time after a month that Li Chu saw his future teammates, and they looked at him in surprise. they didn't expect that this kid from Yen country could really join Real Madrid B team through the training camp. Li Chu, don't worry about their eyes, they will soon be amazed by you. Jack whispered beside Li Chu. Li Chu didn't care how others looked at him, everything was said on the court. Zidane glanced at all the players standing and asked in a deep voice, during the vacation, those who have trained for more than one day, raise your hands. The players looked at each other, and 13 of the more than 20 players raised their hands. Those who have trained for more than 7 days, raise your hands. This time, only 5 players' hands were still raised. Zidane's expression was already a little angry. More than 15 days. This time, only Li Chu and Jack's hands were still raised. Everyone stared at Li Chu and Jack, their faces full of disbelief. Forget about that Yen country guy, Jack must be lying. Jack didn't hear that he played games for more than 15 consecutive days. Who raised their hand? I didn't expect Jack to raise his hand. At this time, Jack heard the discussion around him and looked proud. I didn't expect that I, Jack, would also start to train hard. All this is thanks to the encouragement of my good roommate from the Bull country. It seems that everyone is very satisfied with our 4th place last season, right? Are you very satisfied, Peter? Zidane looked at a black man, the center forward of Madrid B team. Or Hook, do you think you don't need to practice your passing? Dordo, do you think you are good at protecting the ball? As Zidane called out the names one by one and pointed out the weaknesses of the players, everyone lowered their heads. Zidane's voice became more and more severe. You must know that you are now in the best club in the world. You are facing the most talented and hard-working players in the world. If you lag behind, then what awaits you is elimination. Do you only want to stay in the second team for your whole life? You can only be a player that no one pays attention to and no one cares about for your whole life. When your son asks you in the future, Dad, are you a good football player? How are you going to answer? I'm sorry, son, your dad is just a player with no reputation. When you go to school and mention it to your classmates, they won't even know who I am. Is that how you want to answer? Tell me loudly, is it true or not? Li Chu was completely touched by Zidane's words. A true man should carry a 3-foot sword and accomplish great feats. All the players were also ignited and shouted loudly, no. Chapter 13. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zidane was very satisfied with the players' response. Under the arrangement of assistant coach Michael, the players were divided into 2 teams, A and B, for training matches. The division of A and B teams was based on strength. Team A basically had the team starting players, and Team B was the substitute. Li Chu and Jack were assigned to Team A together. They served as the attacking midfielder and left winger of Team A respectively. The players thought it was normal for Jack to be selected. After all, although Jack was lazy, his talent and strength had an unquestionable position in the team, but Li Chu's selection surprised everyone. They whispered to each other. This kid, who didn't participate in a training match, how could he be selected for Team A? I suspect the coach is crazy. Is this kid going to be the starter in the new season? I don't believe I'm not as good as this kid. I'll make him lose the ball on the court later. Since it's a training match before the new season, the importance of each player is self-evident. Excellent performance means being able to enter the starting lineup. Poor performance means you can only be on the bench. In Real Madrid, relationships are not recognized, only strength is recognized. Li Chu saw the players talking about his selection for Team A. He cast a confused look at Jack. The smart Jack certainly guessed his teammates' thoughts and went to Li Chu's ear to explain the difference between Team A and Team B. In order to prevent Li Chu from thinking too much, he patted Li Chu on the shoulder and smiled encouragingly. I think you have the ability to be selected for Team A. Perform well. Prove yourself. Li Chu nodded seriously with a firm look in his eyes. Players must prove themselves on the court. With Michael's whistle, the players of Team A and Team B quickly changed into pink and green training vests and stood on the court. The game is about to start. The eyes of the players on both sides are basically focused on Li Chu. Hostility from Team B players, suspicion from his own players. Li Chu's eyes were fixed on the football at the feet of Team A center forward Pete. He ignored all the gazes. Beep. Game on. With Michael's shout. Team A center forward Pete hesitated for a moment and did not choose to pass the ball back. He deliberately ignored Li Chu behind him. Instead, he passed the ball directly to the right winger Hooker. Hooker launched the attack. At this time, Zidane and Michael stood side by side on the sidelines, watching the game on the field. Perhaps he could not help it anymore. Michael touched his nose and said, "Zidane, maybe it is not a good arrangement for you to directly arrange Li Chu to Team A." Zidane felt Michael's hesitation from the beginning. He smiled softly. "The new season is about to start, and we don't have that much time to wait for Li Chu to grow. You have seen his performance in the tryout and his efforts during this period. Forcing the growth of talented players, isn't it a catalyst?" Michael chose to remain silent, because whether this choice of forcing the growth of talented players is good or bad, it will soon be revealed in front of us. Of course, the premise is that the players of Team A are willing to pass the ball to Li Chu. At this time on the court, today the sky is clear. For the Bull Country, July is the most comfortable season. The players of Teams A and B are all concentrating on the game on the court. Li Chu is no exception, running actively on the court, running from the backcourt to the front court, and from the front court to the backcourt. The game has been going on for a full 10 minutes. Li Chu's footsteps have almost never stopped, but the number of touches is 0. Yes, that's right. Li Chu, who has been on the field for 10 minutes, as a front midfielder, has touched the ball 0 times. The players of Team A deliberately ignored Li Chu. As if there was no such player on the field, the football flew over Li Chu's head several times. "Just don't pass it to Li Chu." Li Chu was not in a hurry. When attacking, he actively moved and supported his teammates, silently waiting for the opportunity. Since his teammates didn't pass the ball to him, he would find an opportunity to grab the ball from the opponent's feet. 12th minute of the game. The striker of Team B received a long pass from his teammate in the frontcourt. As fast as lightning, he dribbled the ball and broke through the center forward of Team A, Pete. Just after passing the center circle, he felt a figure rushing over quickly. It was Li Chu. For this knew the Yen people who joined the team. The striker of Team B showed a contemptuous smile. He is in very good condition now. Even the team's starting center forward Pete can't stop him, let alone you, a Yen person who just joined the team. Trying to use his speed advantage to break through. Send the ball directly with his right foot. Prepare to pass Li Chu and catch the ball again. Result. The football was intercepted by Li Chu at lightning speed. And it was retrieved by Li Chu. The center forward of Team B has not yet reacted to the ball. Li Chu has already taken the football, passed by him like the wind. The center forward of Team B turned his head in annoyance, but could only see Li Chu's back coming 2 meters away. Team A's teammates obviously didn't expect Li Chu to be able to intercept the football. They were slightly stunned. Only Jack, the left winger of Team A, excitedly let out an aha cry. Good interception. Chu. He rushed to the front court quickly, waiting to meet Li Chu. After Li Chu and Jack came to the front circle, the players of Team B woke up as if from a dream and quickly returned to defense. At first, Team A deliberately ignored Li Chu and did not pass the ball to him. The players of Team B even ignored Li Chu's existence. At this time, the football was at Li Chu's feet. Li Chu's outrageous dribbling speed made many people exclaim in their hearts. This kid dribbles the ball so fast. So stable. The back midfielder and fullback of Team B, one in front and one behind, quickly moved forward. Firmly blocked Li Chu's dribbling route and passing route. And Li Chu faced the impact of the back midfielder of Team B. He was a little flustered, but immediately, he calmed down quickly. After a month of persistent training, he kept himself in a very good state. At this time, he had extremely confident control over the ball under his feet. A move in his heart. Fiddle with the ball under his feet. Directly with a beautiful half-turn with the ball. It was the Marseille turn. Directly past the midfielder of Team B who came to press. The appearance of the Marseille turn made everyone present brighten up. No matter how those players look at Li Chu. Such a smooth and amazing passing move. Even as a player of Real Madrid B team, almost no one can guarantee that it will be 100% successful. But Li Chu This Yen country kid who suddenly joined the team. He actually confidently made such a move in the training match. And he passed the ball successfully. At this time, a question popped up in the minds of all the players of Team B: could it be that this kid is really better than himself? Chapter 14. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Li Chu, who dribbled past the back of Team B, continued his performance. He did not stop dribbling the ball. Continued at this time, the fullback of Team B was obviously a little panicked. The scene of the back of his team being passed was still vivid, and no one wanted to be a background board. To be honest, the center-back of Team B even had a little fear in his heart. What if he was also passed by a Marseille turn? Fortunately, Li Chu gradually slowed down his dribbling pace, because at this time, the two center-backs of Team B had already pressed over. Li Chu quickly observed the surroundings. With the template of the young Zidane, his field of vision has reached an astonishing 91. The field of vision value of 91 is also the top field of vision in the entire global football world. In addition to a month of crazy training adaptation, at this time, Li Chu seemed to be in a god's perspective. In an instant, he grasped all the information near the front penalty area. In front of him was the fullback of Team B. Not far away, the two central defenders of Team B were tacitly compressing their shooting angles and preparing to squeeze their dribbling space. On the other side, except Jack, no one could support him. His center forward and another right winger were still running behind him, and had long been closely watched by the players of Team B. The only remaining offensive passing route was Jack's position, but Jack was in another corner of the penalty area at this time. In addition, the presence of the two tall central defenders of Team B, one in front and one behind, blocked the passing route. The court changed rapidly, but Li Chu had already simulated more than a dozen passing routes in his mind. On the side of the court, Zidane was also silent at this time, staring at the ball intently. Li Chu's dribbling past the opponent was indeed amazing, but there is never a lack of players in the football world who rely on their own ball control proficiency and sudden explosive power to complete single passes. At this time, Li Chu's situation on the court is the most challenging time for a player. The defensive strength in front of the penalty area is many times stronger than that in the midfield. The closer to the enemy's goal, the higher the defensive strength, the higher the ability and requirements for players to handle the ball. Because in the final analysis, football is a competition where everything comes down to the result. Even if you pass 4 or 5 players all the way, but lose the opportunity in front of the goal, it means that all your previous passes were in vain. Zidane has a habit: when the players play on the court, they will actually put themselves into the scene. At this time, Zidane naturally put himself into Li Chu's situation. Michael, who was next to Zidane, frowned, muttered to himself, "Although this kid is fast, there is no teammate to support him. This good opportunity is probably going to be wasted." Zidane naturally listened to Michael's muttering, "Wasted? If it were me, there would be at least 3 passing routes. I can continue the offensive of this ball. I just don't know, Li Chu, can I do it?" While Zidane was thinking, only 2 or 3 seconds had passed on the court. That was when Li Chu suddenly raised his left foot. The side of his foot kicked the ball under the ball lightly. Everyone's eyes, all unconsciously, watched this pass. The football was sticking to the grass. Rushed to the other side of the penalty area. Although Michael thought that Li Chu might lose the ball in this ball, but as a coach, still hoped that Li Chu can break the situation. See Li Chu pass the ball. The heart is also full of expectations. As a result, he was disappointed when he saw Li Chu's ground ball pass. Years of experience allowed him to instantly judge this ball. The pass was off. It can be seen that Li Chu hopes to get through the gap. Pass the ball to Jack. Look for an opportunity. However, between Jack and Li Chu, but there happened to be a fullback, blocked the position of the pass. As expected, the next second, the ball possession of this ball will be transferred. The fullback of Team B also looked at the football flying towards him with surprise. At this time, Zidane still had no expression on his face, but in his eyes, there seemed to be something more, staring at this ball. Because he found a place that everyone ignored. That is this ground ball. It was spinning wildly. Just when the fullback of Team B stretched out his left foot as a matter of course, ready to intercept this ground ball. But found that the ground ball seemed toes if it was cast by magic. With one and another slight bounce on the grass. Surprisingly. Changing direction. That's right. It is changing direction. And, a subtle arc is drawn on the grass. The goalkeeper of Team B reminded his teammates loudly. It's a ground rolling arc ball. Curve ball. There is an arc. But. The goalkeeper's reminder was obviously a little late, because the football had passed the toes of the fullback of Team B, came to Jack. Although, Jack was also amazed by Li Chu's ground rolling arc ball. However, the position he was in at this time was a perfect shooting position. Without hesitation, Jack raised his foot and shot. The ball rushed directly to the goal. The goalkeeper of Team B had tried very hard to pounce on this ball. But still missed a gap of one body position. All he could do was watch the ball go into the net. Swish. With Li Chu's assist, Jack scored from the corner of the penalty area in front of the goal. Beep beep beep. The whistle blew when the goal was scored. The sound of the ball going into the net was so wonderful. It always ignites the blood of the players instantly. Jack yelled excitedly. He rushed towards Li Chu excitedly. He laughed happily. Although it was just a training match, he scored this time, even Jack himself didn't expect it. Or rather, even Jack didn't expect that he would get such a good opportunity. And everything. It was all thanks to Li Chu's magician-like pass. Chu. Good. The others were stunned and stood there, still recalling Li Chu's ground-rolling arc pass just now, too exaggerated, right? Although it is not ruled out that the defender of Team B was careless, but, you have to know that this kid passed by 3 people, the ball was sent to Jack's feet. Although the goal came from Jack, but everyone knows that this goal opportunity came entirely from Li Chu's creation. On the sidelines, Michael couldn't help but pull Zidane's sleeve excitedly. Goal! 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 Zidane's expression slightly showed a smile of approval. Zidane, why don't you seem very excited? Ground ball, curve ball. How many surprises can Li Chu bring us? Facing Michael's questioning, Zidane replied, is there a possibility that I expected him to do this? Michael looked unconvinced. Really? Zidane was too lazy to explain. After all, Li Chu's pass was among the 3 passing routes he had imagined. Of course, thinking about it and being able to do it are 2 different things, even if I can't guarantee that I can guarantee the success of this ball 100%. It is absolute creativity and talent. It seems that the starting midfielder for the new season's roster the day after tomorrow has been confirmed. Chapter 15. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the early morning, when the sun was rising, Li Chu quietly changed into a jersey, followed by Jack, who was sleepy, and prepared to go to the training ground. Just walked out of the dormitory, he happened to meet several teammates. Li Chu didn't have time to react. Several teammates looked at him carefully, immediately greeted him with a smile, and took the initiative to greet him. Chu. Going to training so early. The weather is good today, come on. What a coincidence. Good morning. Several teammates walked away. Jack couldn't help but smile slyly. Chu, after this period of training matches, you have completely conquered them. You know when you first came. They all treated you as a wooden man. Li Chu nodded, no comment. This is competitive sports, strength on the court is more important than anything else. It is his business card. At the same time, in the office of the head coach of Real Madrid B team, Zidane and Michael were sorting out a pile of information with dark circles under their eyes. This pile of information was the training data of every Real Madrid B team player during this period of time. They had been up all night without sleep. Zidane, take a look. This is the latest list I have sorted out. Michael yawned and handed the hot list he had just printed out to Zidane. Zidane still frowned. He looked at the list and fell into deep thought. Michael, who was standing aside, stared at Zidane nervously, because he had submitted the list 5 times in a row. without exception, all were rejected. Finally, this time Michael saw a relaxed expression on Zidane's face. Michael breathed a sigh of relief. Zidane continued. Let's just take this roster. Tomorrow is the first round of the new season. Let's go and notify the players now. Now. Zidane, how about we go to sleep first? We've been up all night. Seeing that Zidane was still hesitant, Michael added immediately. I'm not thinking about myself, but about you. As the team's head coach, your health is also very important. I see that you look like you'll fall down at any time. Zidane also rubbed his temples. The dark circles under his eyes are heavier than a panda's, and his eyes are full of bloodshot. Zidane has great expectations for the team's performance in the new season, and pressure. This is why the team's roster has not been finalized, because this season Zidane has issued a military order to the management of Real Madrid. I will definitely lead the youth team to win the championship. The team's performance last season was fourth. The goal of winning the championship is neither high nor low, but there is no factor that may affect whether or not to win the championship. All of them make it difficult for Zidane to make a decision. Seeing Zidane fall into deep thought again, Michael seemed to have guessed what Zidane was thinking. I understand your pressure, Zidane. You have also watched the training matches these days. The players are in good condition, especially Jack and Chu. Speaking of Li Chu, Zidane's face showed a long-lost smile. Okay, then I will take a break first. Just when Zidane was resting, Michael was also preparing to go back to sleep. As a result, when passing by the public TV again, he was attracted by a TV program on TV. This is a football interview program. The screen is the opponent of the Real Madrid youth team in the first round of the league, the head coach of the Sevilla youth team, Vans. Michael has been in the Real Madrid youth team for the past few years. Naturally, he is very familiar with this old opponent, and at the same time, he is subconsciously disgusted, because in recent years, the league results of Sevilla youth team have been better than those of Real Madrid youth team. No coach likes to constantly defeat his team's opponents. Michael stopped and wanted to see what Vans would say. Vans looked like a standard bullfighting Chinese. He had a bright look in his eyes and talked freely. At this time, the content of the interview happened to be talking about the goals of Sevilla youth team in the new season. The team has a talented player like Kate, and our goal for the new season is naturally to win the championship. Van said generously to the host. He greatly appreciated a player named Kate in the current team. Michael rarely saw such confidence in this old rival, even to the point of arrogance. What made Michael even more uneasy was that for the new player of Sevilla, Kate, I had no idea. It seems that in addition to our team introducing Li Chu, other teams have also found many excellent talents in the off-season. Who is this Kate? I'm going to investigate. Oh my God. Can't I really sleep today? Foo *K Vans. Foo *K Kate. Although he cursed, Michael still turned around and returned to the office. He started typing on the computer, looking for everything about Kate that can be searched on the internet. On August 1, 2016, the sky was clear, and the Alfredo Di Stefano Stadium, the home of Real Madrid B team, Li Chu took the team bus and followed his teammates to participate in his first game. Just yesterday, the team's roster was announced, and Li Chu was successfully selected. This time, no one disputed, even if Li Chu had only joined the team for a month or two. Even though Li Chu is still an Asian face, but other players have no dispute about Li Chu's selection. After all, this guy is in the training match. Really, he leads the team to beat the other team in every game. That's right, just beat. Li Chu fully demonstrated his talent as a young Zidane, passing, shooting, running. Let's not talk about defense, just talk about the offensive attribute. It is absolutely unique, a midfielder who scores more goals than a forward. And he can also create goals continuously. A talent that can be seen with the blind. At this time, outside the home court, there are sparse fans, men, women, young and old, preparing to enter the stadium. You can't even tell whether they are coming for Real Madrid or Sevilla. In Li Chu's impression, in foreign games, shouldn't the home fans wear uniform-colored jerseys and cheer? Jack saw Li Chu's confusion at a glance. What are you thinking about? We are just a small second-tier league. There is a first-tier league above it, and there is La Liga above that. Is there a possibility? You have seen a lot of fans today. Li Chu widened his eyes, looking at the hundreds of fans preparing to enter the stadium. You call this a lot? There are more people in a square dance troupe of middle-aged women in Yen country, right? Jack looked serious. There is definitely a problem. These fans must be here for something. Who could it be? Could it be you? Just as Jack was guessing, a cheer from the fans suddenly rang out. Li Chu and Jack looked over together. I saw that hundreds of fans had formed a small encirclement. In the encirclement of the crowd, a handsome blonde boy, wearing the uniform of Sevilla, was smiling brightly, enjoying the enthusiasm of the fans. Chapter 16. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Li Chu followed his teammates to the locker room, he saw that Zidane had already arrived, and, on the tactical blackboard behind Zidane, many things had already been written and drawn. Looking up at the young men in front of him, Zidane finally began to slowly arrange the tactics for this game. The first game of this season is about to start. Look at the audience outside. Do you feel that there are more people coming today than usual? After looking around, Zidane gave up the idea of explaining the tactics directly, mainly because Zidane did not see the desire for the game in the eyes of all the players except Li Chu. There was light in Li Chu's eyes. This kind of light is really familiar to Zidane. When he was a player, there was a similar light in his eyes every time he faced an important game, but others seemed much calmer. In this way, Zidane felt that it was most important to stimulate the enthusiasm of the players first. Do you think everyone is here to see you? I'm sorry to tell you that's not the case. The reason why so many spectators came today is that most of them are here just for Kate from Sevilla. Everyone wants to see how talented is Kate, the genius of Sevilla. As for you, no one has any expectations. After all, you were only fourth last season, and your opponent, Sevilla, has been the champion in recent years. After Zidane finished speaking calmly, sure enough, the atmosphere in the entire locker room was instantly different. Except for Li Chu, everyone else's eyes were full of murderous intent at this time, or it can be clearly seen that the players' eyes were blazing with anger at this time. Satisfied with the current state of his disciples, Zidane smiled with satisfaction. Young people, you are just hot-tempered. Of course, this is what Zidane wants to see. After all, facing a strong enemy, if you are not enthusiastic about the game, then there is no need to expect the result of the game. If you don't want to be the background board on Kate's road to fame, then listen carefully to my tactical arrangement. After saying this, Zidane began to point to the tactical blackboard and began to arrange the tactics for this game. In the end, Zidane also made a special statement. It's good that they have Kate as their trump card, but we also have Li Chu. So, guys, let go and do it. I believe that each of you is no worse than your opponent, and even in my eyes, you are the best young players in the whole of Spain. It has to be said, Zidane really understands the inner thoughts of these young players in the youth team. A lightly written passage, it quickly brought the emotions of all the players to the highest level, especially thinking of what Zidane said. We also have a trump card. Everyone naturally looked at Li Chu unconsciously. Others don't know Li Chu's strength. But the teammates who have been with Li Chu for more than 2 months are naturally very clear. Is Kate very strong? In front of Li Chu, he is nothing. Very quickly, the match between Real Madrid youth team and Sevilla youth team officially started. Sevilla, who won the guessing game, took possession of the ball. Very quickly, the game started with a kickoff in the center circle. Sevilla was very aggressive after the opening. Perhaps it was because they were always able to defeat Real Madrid youth team in recent years, so the players of Sevilla played very confidently on the field at this time. After several passes in the midfield and backcourt, the football was quickly passed to the vicinity of Real Madrid's penalty area. Kate, wearing the number 11 jersey, quickly got the football. Looking at the 2 Real Madrid central defenders who came up to block and assist in defense, Kate quickly made everyone realize why he was regarded as the greatest asset of the youth team by Sevilla. Facing the defense of the 2, Kate's footwork increased in frequency, and the first defensive player panicked at the first time. Facing the second Real Madrid central defender who came to help, Kate made a light crotch pass. At this moment, facing Kate's breakthrough, Real Madrid's defense seemed to be useless. After shaking off the 2 defenders, Kate sprinted towards the Real Madrid penalty area with the ball at high speed. Behind him were 2 Real Madrid players who were desperately chasing back, but they looked quite embarrassed. When Kate brought the ball to the small penalty area of Real Madrid's goalkeeper stepped forward decisively to block the ball. Result, unexpectedly, Kate finally completed the final shot with a very imaginative lob shot. Chic, freehand. 1 o'clock, this number 11 is Kate, right? She is indeed a genius. Yes. Look at this goal, Real Madrid's defense is almost a decoration in front of him. This goal was scored as easily as in a normal training match. Such a player is indeed a genius. Ha ha ha. Look at the two defenders behind Kate, it's like they are watching Kate score a goal. When Kate scored a goal, the audience on the sidelines applauded immediately. There were even many Real Madrid fans among them. For these fans, the original youth team games did not have much appeal to them, especially in recent seasons. The performance of Real Madrid's youth team is still very average. Come to watch the game this time, they wanted to see more about Kate, who was praised by Sevilla. The result did not disappoint them. Kate's performance, she can really be called a genius. On the sidelines, looking at the lost ball, assistant coach Michael was a little crazy. Have these guys not eaten? They can't even catch up with someone. Compared with Michael, who was a little angry, Zidane seemed calmer at this time. To be honest, Kate's strength is indeed quite outstanding among the players in this group of youth teams. At least his footwork is very good, and the speed of combining with the ball is also very fast. It is not surprising that he can't catch up. Hey! Zidane, Kate is a player of Sevilla. How can you praise your opponent? I'm just talking about the facts. Besides, although Kate is excellent, our Li Chu is much better than him. Just wait and see. Michael looked at Li Chu after hearing this. Sure enough, at this time, Li Chu's eyes were like a wolf. His fierce eyes were filled with all kinds of dissatisfaction. Chapter 17. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Very quickly, when the Sevilla players finished celebrating, the ball returned to the center circle again. However, facing the goal lost at the beginning, especially the goal scored by the opponent after a complete breakthrough of the Real Madrid defense on the right side, this result made the Real Madrid players quite bad. When the ball was kicked out, the Real Madrid forward began to sprint towards the Sevilla half desperately, because at this time, several people clearly remembered what Li Chu had just said. You are responsible for running, and it's my fault if you can't pass it. This sentence is the biggest temptation for the two forwards of Real Madrid, and even the forwards like Jack, because everyone knows Li Chu's ability. When Li Chu wants to feed the cake, it's hard for you to not eat it. So, at this time, the two forwards and Jack sprinted towards the Sevilla half while observing the gaps in the opponent's defense. Because the three people believed, as long as they can run out of the gap, the football will definitely be passed to their feet by Li Chu. It's a bit exaggerated, but after spending so much time with Li Chu, everyone naturally understood. At least in the youth team's game, Li Chu did what he said. The three of them sprinted towards Sevilla's backcourt like a running calf. This move obviously confused the Sevilla players. These three guys, don't they have brains? Just rushing straight into our backcourt like this, do you think our back line is fake? Seeing the three people rushing directly into the crowd of 4 defenders and 3 central defenders, this opening also made everyone confused. At the same time, the football quickly came to Li Chu's feet. Facing the football from the opponent, Li Chu took a big step forward gently, leaving himself enough space to sprint. At the same time, he looked at the position of the Sevilla backcourt players. Then, facing the football, Li Chu kicked the ball hard. Bang! Instantly, the football turned into a white light, sticking to the grass, and flew towards Sevilla's backcourt. As a result, the football seemed to be equipped with the most accurate guidance device. On the route, it drew a strange arc and instantly penetrated Sevilla's defense, came to Jack, who had already run to the Sevilla penalty area at high speed, facing the Sevilla defenders on both sides. Jack didn't even need to adjust his steps, and shot directly at the goal. Facing such a goal, the Sevilla goalkeeper had no reaction. Swish. The football hit the net fiercely. 1:1. After scoring the goal, Jack excitedly ran towards Li Chu. Soon, Jack came to Li Chu and hugged Li Chu excitedly. Cool. This goal is really cool. This cake tastes so delicious. And the two forwards who came with Jack, at this time, they also complained to Li Chu excitedly. "Brother, you can't just take care of Jack. We two brothers are the forwards, okay?" Of course, although he complained, but the excitement in his eyes could not be concealed. "No way, as a forward, what kind of teammate do you like most?" "Of course, it is a passer like Li Chu who can feed the ball into his mouth. Take Jack's goal just now, it is much more difficult to miss this ball than to score it." With such teammates, the two forwards naturally couldn't help but get excited. "I couldn't help but imagine, when the season is over, with Li Chu's passing, how many goals can I score in the end?" And looking at the Real Madrid players who were obviously celebrating overtime, at this time, the Sevilla players did not protest to the referee. It was because the goal just now had too much impact on them. How long did it take from Real Madrid's kickoff to the goal? 20 seconds? No. At most, it was about 10 seconds. Kickoff, pass back, then the ball came to the feet of the black-haired and yellow-skinned kid on the other side, then a pass was made and the striker shot. We only leading for about 10 seconds. On the sidelines, after seeing this goal, even Zidane felt a little incredible. At this time, he was rubbing his face vigorously with both hands, with his eyes wide open. He looked at the disciples celebrating on the field, although he had long expected that Li Chu's performance would shock everyone. But what Zidane could not have imagined was, this goal came too fast, right? At this time, Zidane had only one thought in his heart. Happiness came too suddenly. The same as Zidane, all the spectators watching the game on the sidelines, at this time, many people were still discussing Kate's goal just now. No one thought that Real Madrid would easily equalize the score. Staring blankly at the big 1-1 on the display screen, many people still don't understand what happened. I just turned my head and talked to the person next to me about Kate. How come the score is tied? Is the scoreboard wrong? But, looking at the players of the Real Madrid youth team who were celebrating on the field, although everyone couldn't believe it in their hearts, they slowly accepted this fact. Sevilla's bench, at this time, everyone was also confused. What the hell? Just scored a goal. Is it fake? Among them, there were several black players, who directly contributed several emoticons at this time, and Sevilla's coach, at this time, he was so shocked that he couldn't sit still. Even if he stood up now, he still couldn't calm down. Others may not have seen this goal, but he saw the whole process of this goal with his own eyes, and compared to the spectators outside the stadium, this goal had a greater impact on him, because, the more you understand, the more you can understand the horror of this ball. The horror is not Jack who scored the goal, but the black-haired young man who is now being held by the group of Real Madrid boys. The pass just now. Although it was in his own half, it was only less than 5 meters away from the center circle. As a result, after the football was passed, there were 6 of his own defensive players on the route, but this pass turned into a perfect forward route. It successfully penetrated the defense of 6 people and finally landed at the front of the small penalty area. It's even a bit exaggerated. There are 2 Sevilla defenders on the left and right of the boy who received the ball. But, this is the case, the football landed easily at the feet of the Real Madrid players. The player who received the ball didn't even need to adjust and shot directly. Is this a coincidence? If it wasn't a coincidence, instantly, a chill rushed from his feet to his head. Chapter 18. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally, the referee came to his senses and interrupted the celebration of the Real Madrid youth team. The players of both sides stood in position again, ready to wait for Sevilla to kick off. I have to say, even if he has been in the industry for 7 years and is experienced, it has only been a few minutes since the start of the game, including the first time. Now both sides have kicked off in the center circle 3 times. The referee was a little speechless. Are the youth games now so perverted? What the referee didn't expect was that there was something even more perverted to come. When Sevilla kicked off again, this time, Real Madrid's defense quietly changed. Just when all the Sevilla players didn't notice, Li Chu came to the position of the back midfielder early, and the opponent was the genius of Sevilla, Kate. When Kate received the pass from his teammate, he found that this time it was the black-haired boy who had just passed the fatal ball who appeared in front of him. Although Kate admitted that the opponent's pass was amazing, but, pass the ball away, is your defense also amazing? Lower your shoulders and kick backwards. Kate was ready to shake off the boy in front of her, because Kate noticed, behind this boy, there was a large unguarded area. The fake move was almost done, right? Kate passed the black-haired boy to the right smoothly, and smiled triumphantly, but, when Kate looked down again, she was horrified. I don't know when, the football has disappeared. Turned back, as a result, she found that the black-haired boy who defended her just now had already run away with the football. Damn. Turned back and chased, as a result, something even more horrified Kate happened. The speed that she was usually proud of was now completely beaten by the black-haired boy. Because the distance between the two people was getting farther and farther, after watching Li Chu successfully steal Kate's ball, the entire midfield of Real Madrid was desperately running towards Sevilla's half. For these Real Madrid youth team players, what does it mean after Li Chu got the ball? It means that there is a high probability that he will eat the cake again. If he doesn't run faster at this time, will he wait to see others eat it? So, with Li Chu's sprint, a spectacular scene also appeared on the scene, including Li Chu. A total of 7 players of Real Madrid are participating in this attack, and the sprint of teammates just happened to attract the attention of the defensive players for Li Chu. At this time, the defensive players of Sevilla had to divide the work in an orderly manner and conduct one-on-one defense, so. The defensive player who came to Li Chu, at this time, there was only one. Li Chu, whose speed has been raised. There was no excessive movement at all at this time. After a simple bicycle kick, he used his speed to overpower the defensive player in front of him. When Li Chu brought the ball to the front of the penalty area, the nearest Sevilla player was about 2 meters away from Li Chu. Good opportunity. Seeing this, Li Chu raised his left leg high, long shot. At this time, the defenders of Sevilla, including the goalkeeper, were staring at Li Chu nervously. Even the defender saw that the distance was not enough and directly made a ground tackle on the spot, hoped to increase the defensive area by ground tackle, but, they were all fooled. Seeing that the opponent's attention was focused on himself, instantly, Li Chu's left leg was raised high, and after it fell, it gently pushed the football forward. At this moment, even the goalkeeper subconsciously rushed to the right. As a result, he just made the move and found that he was fooled. But at this time, the center of gravity of the body has also fallen down, so. Sevilla's goalkeeper, he watched the Real Madrid player who came in from behind and easily pushed the ball into the far corner of the goal in front of an empty goal, 2-1. That it was only a little over a minute since the last goal. The Real Madrid youth team had already reversed the score. Richie, who scored the goal, rushed to Li Chu excitedly. He raised Li Chu's left foot and made a kissing gesture. You know, the greatest affirmation a player can get from his teammates is this kissing of his shoes. Vans was in a terrible mood at this time, looking at the players on the field. Being the number 11 black-haired and yellow-skinned boy in Real Madrid raised his left foot to his knee to kiss him. Vans was indescribably terrified at this time. This boy. How strong is this boy? If Kate, the baby of Sevilla youth team, is the most technically advanced in the youth team, and it can be said that almost no one can defend her, then the number 11 in Real Madrid. In Van's eyes, it is the existence of dimensionality reduction in the youth team game. This black-haired boy, his body, speed, footwork, etc. Where did this monster come from? Not to mention the youth team game. Even in the current La Liga, this kid can sit firmly in the starting midfield in the midstream team, okay? Such a player, compared with these boys in the youth team, any tactics are meaningless at this time. Vans believes, just through the crushing of personal ability, with the existence of this black-haired boy, Real Madrid can easily defeat any opponent. If he hadn't just seen Real Madrid's number 11 easily intercept Kate's ball, then Vans could still try to have an unguarded offensive battle with Real Madrid. But after seeing the opponent's defensive ability, Vans knew that Kate's offensive means were not worth mentioning in front of the opponent. What to do? Vans was suddenly helpless now. On the other side, Zidane really felt that he was about to go crazy with happiness at this time. This time the sky really fell pie. It really fell on his head. You know, for the attack of the Real Madrid youth team, after having Li Chu, Zidane was naturally relieved, but, when he saw Kate's goal at the beginning, Zidane was still a little worried. After all, Kate's strength, Real Madrid's defense line can't do anything to him. Who would have thought, Li Chu, who usually attacks in training, is so good at defense? If Li Chu knew Zidane's idea, he would definitely tell him disdainfully, what is this? In order to make himself have no shortcomings, in recent training, Li Chu has added all his attribute points to the defensive end. Now Li Chu's ability in various aspects of defense is 82 at the worst. If he still can't defend a young player, then what is the use of this system for Li Chu? Chapter 19. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Li Chu showed his strength on the defensive end, Real Madrid's players had more confidence in this game, especially after Li Chu took the initiative to move his position back and directly matched up with Kate of Sevilla. The situation on the field became clear. Kate's point was completely frozen by Li Chu. After Kate's point was frozen, Sevilla's other points of attack were much less threatening when facing Real Madrid's defense. The attack in the midfield was not smooth, especially Kate's point. Kate never succeeded in a one-on-one when facing Li Chu. On the contrary, every time Li Chu intercepted the ball, Li Chu would immediately launch the soul-stirring pass. If it weren't for the average strength of Real Madrid's two forwards, who forced out a few cakes, the game would have been rewritten, and when the second half started, everyone was surprised to find that Sevilla had completely retreated to its own half to defend. Only Kate was left in the midfield, symbolically indicating that he had not given up the game. But, looking at the black-haired boy who was inseparable from Kate, all the players of Sevilla understood, even if there was a chance, the ball would not be passed to Kate. As for Kate herself, after the first half of the game, Kate's mental state is very bad now. It was almost like sleepwalking on the court. The confidence of the past was completely destroyed in just the halftime against Li Chu. Isn't he a genius? Isn't his strength top in the youth team? Even in the adult team, he can be a qualified rotation player. But, why can't he even get past the number 11 of Real Madrid? Li Chu, without knowing it, he actually became the mountain that Kate could never get past in her heart. The audience on the sidelines, at this time, they were naturally quite surprised. Originally, everyone came for the genius Kate from Sevilla. Who would have thought that Kate would be completely defeated by the newcomer on their side? And this number 11 of their own team, not only did he completely freeze Kate in defense, even the 2 goals on the field now were all done by him, even several chances. If it weren't for the striker's incompetence, the score on the field would probably be 4-1 or 5-1. When they thought of this, the fans of Real Madrid were naturally excited to inquire about Li Chu's information. What? Just 100,000 euros to sign this genius? Where is this cabbage price? Hurry up and wholesale some more. Yengua's players. How can Yengua have people who can play football? Li Chu. This name is hard to pronounce. The boy is very handsome. For a while, whenever Li Chu received the ball, there would be applause for Li Chu on the field. Although the second half became garbage time due to Sevilla's comprehensive retreat, however, at this time, Real Madrid fans were not annoyed at all. After all, an eagle appeared in our own Castilla, so we must take a good look. Everyone was happier and happier. Watching Li Chu's passing and receiving, Real Madrid fans even felt that Li Chu's style was not inferior to those big stars of Real Madrid's adult team. The only thing that made everyone a little regretful was that Li Chu did not score a goal in this game. As a result, Li Chu did not disappoint the home fans. When the game time came to the 83rd minute, at this time, the physical strength of the young players on both sides of the field was almost reaching the limit. After the football was cleared by the Sevilla players again, it soon fell to Li Chu's feet. Watching Li Chu face the football more than 6 meters high, he easily unloaded the ball at his feet. Real Madrid fans gave Li Chu a warm applause at this time. Look at it, this footwork. This ball sense. This is our Castilla youth training product. Not inferior to La Masia at all. After unloading the ball, Li Chu looked at the situation on the field, then he took the ball to the penalty area of Sevilla. Facing the players who came forward to defend, Li Chu made a Marseille turn with a high-speed dribbling ball and directly passed the defensive player in front of him. Then he observed the position of the Sevilla goalkeeper. At 9 meters away from the penalty area, he raised his head just a kick. The football instantly turned into a white lightning. It went directly into the upper right corner of the goal. 3:1. Li Chu after scoring, at this time, he was naturally very excited. After all, this was his first official match goal since joining the team. Li Chu excitedly ran all the way. Soon he came to the bench of Real Madrid. He jumped high on Zidane. He hugged Zidane's big bald head and shouted excitedly, "Boss! Thank you. Li Chu couldn't help but be excited. This goal was of great significance to Li Chu, because this goal was the first goal scored by Li Chu in an official match after he joined the team, and Zidane, at this time, he was actually not much better than Li Chu, a genius like Li Chu, even if you look for it all over the world, it is quite rare. Who would have thought that the Yanguo Football Association would actually deliver the treasure to the door like this? 100,000 euros. For the club, what's the difference between this and giving it away for free? And with the existence of a super genius like Li Chu, Zidane believes, what he boasted to the board of directors before can finally be realized. This season, the Real Madrid youth team has only one goal, that is, the championship. On the sidelines, in the audience, with Li Chu's world wave, all the fans also fell into madness. Perfect. Our Castilla superstar finally had a perfect debut. 2 passes and 1 shot, Castilla's genius dominated this game. For Barcelona's long-term La Masia youth training, all Real Madrid fans are naturally envious, although they are very disdainful. However, they still hope that Real Madrid's own Castilla Youth Training Center can also cultivate Real Madrid's own Messi. Finally waited until today. It's just a pity for everyone, because the youth team's game is only the second-level league, so apart from the die-hard fans of Real Madrid, even the local media of Real Madrid are too lazy to report. Having a talent but not being able to show it off is really a very uncomfortable thing for Real Madrid fans. Chapter 20. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After defeating Sevilla, which has been in the limelight in recent seasons, Zidane and his disciples will face another super team in the youth team, Bilbao, next weekend. Zidane is actually quite dissatisfied with the schedule of this season. In the first few rounds of the league, they faced strong opponents, and it can even be said that they were the most direct competitors on the road to the championship. However, Zidane has not yet reached the point where he can influence the entire Western Football Association with his personal will, so he can only accept his fate, and Li Chu. After completing his debut perfectly, he also earned a lot of free points, but for Li Chu, whose basic attributes are slightly low now, the attribute points of just one game are not enough to make him a superstar instantly, so, before the game next week, Li Chu is more focused on training, and his roommate, Jack, now he has already adapted to Li Chu's abnormal daily life. The two of them get up at 6 o'clock in the morning every day and come to the training ground at about 6:30. When the afternoon training is over, Li Chu and Jack will not leave, they will train until after 10 o'clock in the evening before returning to the dormitory. The reason why they don't train until 11 o'clock or even after 12 o'clock like before, it's because Zidane found Li Chu several times to discuss with him after learning about Li Chu's abnormal training arrangement. In the end, Li Chu still chose to agree with Zidane. It's not that Zidane said, "You are still in the stage of growing up. Too much training will only bring more burden to your body." In fact, Li Chu is not worried about this at all. After having the system, however, if you don't reduce some training time, then if others become suspicious of you, it will be difficult for Li Chu to explain the problem of the system, and the recent crazy training is naturally quite meaningful. At least, the points Li Chu got are quite considerable. Counting the points from winning the last game, Li Chu now has 200 points to use. It's just that Li Chu is still a little confused about which ability to use these points. Before the last game, Li Chu was actually a little worried about his defense. After all, with only 57 points of defense, Li Chu was worried that he was a defensive scum. As a result, after facing the superstar Kate of Sevilla in the last game, Li Chu reacted instantly. What defensive scum? The defensive attribute of 57 is just the data given by the system after comparing with the adult team, when facing Kate, who is more outstanding in the youth team, although Li Chu's defensive attribute is not high, because the offensive attribute is obviously higher than Kate by more than a little bit, through accurate prediction to assist, so that the so-called genius like Kate has no way in front of him. So, Li Chu doesn't have too many ideas about the defensive end for the time being, just offensive end, which attribute should be added specifically. After carefully recalling the match with Sevilla, Li Chu began to consciously look for his shortcomings. At this time, Li Chu felt more of that sentence, "Only in the official game can you improve the ball at the fastest speed." That's right, in the usual training matches with teammates, Li Chu did not feel that he had any special shortcomings. As a result, only after the match with Sevilla, Li Chu felt that he needed to improve in all aspects. Finally, Li Chu decided to improve the attributes of passing. After all, in the match with Sevilla, although the short pass cooperation between him and his teammates was quite good, however, the final landing point of the medium and long-distance pass was still far from what he imagined. At present, there is such an obvious problem in the youth team. If he goes to the adult team in the future, based on his current performance, he will be at most a qualified substitute, not even a rotation player. You know, in the system's evaluation, in general adult teams, especially in some wealthy teams, the attributes of the players are at least above 85, at present, my short pass has reached 83, and the long pass is only 81, this is why, in the game against Sevilla, when the physical strength decreased in the later games, the accuracy of my long pass was so far away. Thinking of this, Li Chu no longer hesitated, directly started to add points to the long pass. Result, when the long pass attribute was added to 85, when I wanted to upgrade to 86, the system actually prompted, before 85, each level only required 20 attribute points, but between 85 and 90, each level actually required an exaggerated 200 points. This is a tenfold increase. And this is only added to 90 points, as for above 90. I don't know yet, so, in the end, Li Chu increased his long pass and short pass to 85 and stopped. The remaining points were saved in case I found that I had any deficiencies in other places. It is also good for reinforcement at any time. On the other side, Zidane and his assistants have not had a good rest in the past week. The reason is simple, it's just because the next game will face Bilbao. For Bilbao, if you are not a Spaniard, you may not know much about it. In fact, Bilbao is also a traditional strong team in La Liga. So far, Bilbao has maintained the same record as Real Madrid and Barcelona, and has never been relegated since the beginning of the La Liga. The difference from Real Madrid and Barcelona is that Bilbao is a club. In terms of selecting players, it is extremely exclusive. All Bilbao players need to be selected from Bilbao. Of course, modern football has developed to this day. Especially in recent years, gold-dollar football has become more popular. Bilbao has now relaxed quite a lot of conditions in terms of selecting players. Now any player with Basque descent can join the Bilbao club. Under such extreme management, the club has never been relegated in 100 years. The most fundamental reason is, Bilbao's youth training is really excellent. Now, the first round of the league is against the league champion of last season, and the second game is to face the runner-up of the league. Fortunately, Zidane is bald. If he wasn't bald, he would have to pluck out a few more hairs in the face of such a schedule. So, recently, at the training ground, Li Chu was surprised to find that his head coach actually had dark circles under his eyes every day. What the hell?